Well, hi, Vancouver, and to everyone else beyond our beautiful city limits who might be joining us right now. I'm Tim Becker, Strategic Communications Manager at the City of Vancouver. And we want to thank everybody who's joining us right now on this social media today to talk about one of Vancouver's most treasured assets. You know what that is? Trees. But it's not just trees, but more specifically, Vancouver's Urban Forestry Management Plan. Now, I know, kind of a long name, but a very important tool to guide our city's tree future. Now, as this planning effort evolves, it's going to engage the community in creating a shared vision for our urban forest so that trees can continue to benefit everyone who lives, works, and plays in Vancouver for generations to come. Now, a lot has changed, of course, in Vancouver since our last urban forestry management plan was adopted in 2007. So, hey, we're talking 16 years ago, folks. You bet a lot has changed. From more than 20,000 new trees planted with community support and participation to the city's recent adoption of an ambitious climate action goal to become carbon neutral community-wide by 2040, the Vancouver of today has sustainability completely top of mind. We make it a priority in just about everything we do. Now, at the same time, we've added more than 40,000 people to our growing city. And we've experienced, of course, unprecedented new development. You just have to look around to see it. And that puts new demands on our ability to plant and maintain our green infrastructure. Now, we're joined today by an expert panel, including one of our volunteer urban forestry commissioners, Melissa Johnston. Also with us are City of Vancouver urban forester Charles Ray and program coordinator Jessica George, all here so we can learn more about our tree programs and what the urban forestry management plan means for our tree future. Let's go ahead and get the ball rolling on this thing. And so to get us started, we're going to do a quick round of introductions first, and we're going to include a quick icebreaker question for our panel. So tell us, first of all, panel members, what is your favorite tree in Vancouver? And we'll begin with Charles.
So, hi, everyone. I'm Charles Ray, urban forester with the City of Vancouver. I love good stories, and so the old apple tree has an amazing story. Dates back to the Hudson Bay Company, and at one point it was protected by soldiers from being cut down to be used as firewood. And so it also has a unique genetic makeup, its own cultivar, Fort Vancouver. I also really like fall color and the fall color of the sugar maples. And there's a sugar maple on the north side of Mill Plain in the Heights area, and in the fall it just has spectacular kind of a orange glowing fall color.
Hi there, I am Jessica George. I'm the outreach coordinator for the Urban Forestry Program. And my favorite tree species is the Oregon white oak, but we also call the Gary oak. And truly that is just a magnificent tree. It's an important habitat tree, and there are many great examples of Gary oak trees throughout our community. This might be our favorite, our mascot Gary oak tree here. There are also some really great Gary oak trees out at Oak Brook Park, and a great specimen tree near the tennis courts. So you can sometimes see an oak tree in City Hall, but if you really want to see some great ones, Oak Brook Park has some examples.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Johnston. I'm an urban forestry commissioner. I volunteer with the city. Favorite tree? Well, certainly Gary oak. I always love seeing Gary oak around at events around town. But I'll pick for my answer. I'll pick Officers Row. It's my favorite tree-lined street in Vancouver. Evergreen Boulevard, there's just beautiful trees all along the street, elms, maples, and they're a variety of sizes and ages. Some of them were planted as far back as when the Army barracks were active. And then there was a lot more of those trees planted in 1989 by elementary school students for Arbor Day. And those trees are already so big. So it's just a beautiful place to go walking, jogging. It's really shady in the summer. I like seeing the leaves change color throughout the year. Beautiful place.
Very good. Thank you, all of you, for sharing that. Always good to get to know people a little better for their love of trees. Okay, now we're going to get to the core questions and why we're here. First off, first question. Now, what are some of the lesser known benefits of an urban forest? I mean, we know trees provide clean air and clean water, but what other benefits do trees provide that our listeners and viewers might know? might not know. Excuse me.
I'll jump back in on that one. Uh, One of the benefits that a lot of people don't know about is that trees can actually calm down traffic. So what I mean is picture Officers Row, Evergreen Boulevard, and there's really big trees on each side of it, and the branches grow up tall and they grow up and over the road, and it closes in that roadway. It actually feels smaller overall, more narrow, and whether you know it or not, that kind of affects you when you're driving. You just feel like driving slower. You feel like driving a little bit more carefully. So I just think that's a neat benefit. And if you have trouble with people speeding in your neighborhood, I know a lot of us do. So one thing you can do about that is plant more trees alongside the street.
And I'll jump in. So I find the health, the public health benefits and the social benefits fascinating, such as treed neighborhoods reduce crime and are more sociable. This has huge benefits to communities, and then also benefits for kids. Kids function better after playing in treed areas. It improves their focus as well as like their coping skills, and so we just need more of that in our community as well.
Yeah, those human health benefits are fascinating and really tightly in sync with the ecosystem benefits that Tim had mentioned as well. Trees are pretty fascinating, and they're shading our buildings, our neighborhoods, our communities, and those shading effects are having heating and cooling savings on those buildings, which is economically advantage. Shade trees are amazing. They're shading our streets, which are extending the lifetime of the pavement. Again, another economic savings there. And trees are fascinating. They're really helping to combat the urban heat island effect. We know that it's 9 degrees hotter during our hot summer months, and neighborhoods that have a lower tree canopy or don't have as much shade are being more impacted. It gets even hotter than that 9 degrees. And so trees are really an environmental justice tool because everyone really deserves the many benefits that trees are providing throughout our community.
Wow, a lot of good stuff there. I mean, really cool things that I honestly didn't have any idea. So I appreciate you sharing that. Now, next question. What kind of programs does the city have to support a thriving urban forest?
So I'll jump in. So Vancouver has innovative urban forestry program. We are constantly improving. We focus on 3 main goals: planning and management of the trees we have, planting new trees so that we're constantly growing, and then the final is the community outreach and education, and all of our programs fall under one of these goals. And we also have an urban forestry commission, which Melissa is the chair. 7 members, volunteer members of the community, appointed by City Council to help guide our program. Because our program is fairly small, we have 4 dedicated staff members to coordinate the program, and then we're lucky to have AmeriCorps members who help give us kind of fresh perspectives on our programming, but then also while we're providing them with a valuable work experience.
Yeah, that framework that Charles mentioned and those goals really help us to create and move our programming forward. That planning goal, well, this is a big part of it. The management plan that we are currently working on helps us to really understand what we currently have, plan for the future, so we all have a healthy, robust urban forest. That planting goal that Charles mentioned is a big part of our program. We plant about 2,000 trees a year, new trees across the community. And we do that with internal community partners, and we have other planting partners as well. And we're able to focus planting in areas where there is currently not many trees to make sure that we have an equitable tree canopy across our community. And then that final goal, that community engagement goal. So we are all stewards of the urban forest. And so we are able to offer education to the community as well as technical expertise throughout the community as well. We have events throughout the year. Old Apple Tree Festival is one of the bigger ones that we host in October. If you haven't attended, you should. We encourage you to. Family-friendly, fun festival, first Saturday of October. And then we also celebrate Arbor Day each year. We'll be recognized as Tree City USA for the 34th year. And that's pretty significant. It means that our city values trees. And another community engagement goal is providing workshops to the community. We have pruning workshops, tree planting workshops, tree walks, anything tree related. And then we also have a Tree Stewards program, which is a longer series, 7-series opportunity for folks to get more engaged in trees and in their community.
So what are some of Vancouver's strengths when it comes to our urban forest? Curious.
First, I would say the city of Vancouver is committed to the continued protection and enhancement of the urban forest as part of our region's valuable natural resources. And like Jessica mentioned, Vancouver's been proud to have been recognized as a Tree City USA for 33 years. So this will be our 34th year. And we qualify for that designation through continued investment in our community trees by spending at least $2 per capita, having a tree protection ordinance, and then celebrating Arbor Day annually. And then on top of that, Vancouver has received the prestigious Growth Award for over 22 years by just annually improving our program. Last year, we qualified by completing our tree canopy assessment. So,
yeah, we do a lot. It's really great. And really, I feel like where we can have some success is because we work across department lines to really achieve city goals, including climate equity and stormwater management goals. So having that partnership and being a part of the city programming really is wonderful for us, but we also really work closely with external partners and communities, members and groups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of those groups that we work a lot with is the nonprofit Friends of Trees. We just saw Gary Oak walk by. He's the mascot from Friends of Trees, but I've enjoyed volunteering with Friends of Trees for many years now, and it's where I started volunteering, actually planting trees and joining their events. And it was from that experience, planting trees with them and learning about the urban forest, that I wanted to go on and keep volunteering with the city and become an urban forestry commissioner. So I think it's just really strong that we've got that connection here in Vancouver. Plus, they're really fun to volunteer with. So.
Yeah, I would definitely echo both Jessica and Melissa's points, and we're very fortunate to have Friends of Trees as a partner. But then also just let's not forget about where we are. We have amazing natural features. We have the Columbia River, Vancouver Lake, Burnt Bridge Creek, views of Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood, and trees. And trees are a part of these natural features.
All the positives and wonderful things. But now, what are some of our community's challenges when it comes to our urban forest? Because we certainly have some challenges.
We do have some challenges, and the data shows that. We know through tree canopy study from 2021 that we have a 19% tree canopy across Vancouver. We also know from nonprofit American Forests that we should have a 40% tree canopy as to be a healthy Pacific Northwest city and really maximize those benefits that trees are providing us. So the city currently has a goal of a 28% tree canopy coverage. And that's attainable through our planting goals and other goals that we have within our program. That tree canopy study is some really powerful data that we have, a great tool that we have, where we can take the canopy data and overlay it with census data and health disparity map data. And so we can take that information and really zone in on areas that are low canopy, as well as areas that are low income, have a high representation of people of color, high health disparities, and really prioritize our planting so that we can hit those equity goals of getting trees where they need to be across the community. And that there's a community engagement map that the folks can go to online and look at the canopy across neighborhoods and census tracts.
And there's a lot of stressors on our urban forest development, insects and diseases such as the emerald ash borer, which was just recently identified in Oregon in June of 22, and then also climate change, improper tree care such as topping, and just the unnecessary removal of healthy trees. So those are all stressors. Looking at development, Vancouver is still one of the fastest growing communities in the state, and we've had a tremendous amount of growth. And unfortunately, tree removal is a byproduct of that growth, and unfortunately, we can't save every tree. We do recognize there's cases where tree removal is an unavoidable option. But what we try to do is avoid the unnecessary removal of or destruction of healthy trees.
One of the challenges I most worry about, Charles just mentioned, but it's tree topping. And it's just an improper way to care for trees. It's really harmful for them, but it involves pruning them such that you really cut down the size of the tree. And that doesn't allow the tree to grow to its full potential. And we won't get all of the environmental benefits that tree can offer in terms of clean air and clean water. And then when the tree struggles to grow back, the branches are more weakly attached. And there's actually a really greater chance that tree will break or fail in a storm after it's been topped.
Yeah, and then just touching on climate change, it's impacting our trees with the extreme weather conditions such as the drought, extreme heat, and then the winds. Well-established trees should pull through, but trees that are struggling or trees that are declining, it'll just speed up that natural process. And so healthy trees are just better able to adapt to those challenges of climate change, and are just more resistant to storm damage, thus providing us those benefits over the long term.
Yeah, that climate change is very impactful, and we're seeing it on the ground. We are updating our planting lists in reflection of that. We can't even plant our state tree, the western hemlock, anymore in our urban areas because it's too hot and too dry during our summers. There are other trees that are on that list as well that we're having to remove, or conversely, we're adding trees to the list as we're getting hotter and drier summers, and those trees that are going to reflect well in our environment and be successful.
So yeah, just really focusing on planting the right tree in the right place, focus on urban tolerant, drought tolerant, our natives that are performing well, and giving trees the right amount of care and pruning just makes a difference, ensuring that we have a healthy urban forest for today, but then also future generations, because it really only takes a minute to improperly prune or remove a tree and then a lifetime to grow one.
Okay. Hey, thank you for all of that information. Now I'm going to circle back to another just big, general, high-level question. It's kind of how we started this whole thing, but how will the Urban Forestry Management Plan help now specifically with some of all these things we've spoken about?
So the 2007 Urban Forestry Management Plan really helped guide us to make strategic improvements over the last 15 years or so, with support both from within the city, but then also the greater community. So the new plan will help us identify, what's next, really focused, thoughtful actions in the next 5 years, 10 years, and beyond, with that community support and input, such as identifying and creating plans to address inequities in our tree canopy, reviewing our tree data, our plans, our policies, and just to get an idea of how we're doing, and just really a roadmap, a shared vision for the future of Vancouver's trees.
I know our commission's really looking forward to having the updated plan. So it's an exciting time for Vancouver. What's next for the Urban Forestry Management Plan?
Right. I mean, so that gets us to our next question. How can the community help shape the plan?
Absolutely. We are asking for community input because we need a robust plan that really has the voices of all of our community members in it as we move forward. So ways to get involved, visit the Be Heard webpage. There you can take a survey. You'll find information about upcoming public meeting as well. Invite your friends and family to give feedback. Share on your social networks, please. The more feedback, the better. And also Urban Forestry is available to present to small groups like neighborhood associations or other groups as well. So get in touch with us.
Mm-hmm. We're looking forward to hearing all of that feedback at the commission, and just encourage you all to take the survey too. We also, at our commission meetings, are open to the public. So if you want to come, we invite you to be there. We love hearing from guests.
Right. And that next in-person tree talk is March 18th, I think, from like 10 to noon. If folks can find that on the Be Heard page. But how else can community members help grow our tree canopy in the meantime?
Just learning about trees, advocating for urban trees, and then just getting involved. We all have a role to play in the stewardship of our urban forest.
Plant a tree. If you have room on your property, plant more trees. Care for the trees that you do have. Proper pruning goes a long way, and maintenance will make sure that your tree is really providing those benefits that they all provide. And then don't forget to water your trees during those hot summer months. Mm-hmm. In addition, we have a pretty cool program called the Heritage Tree Program. So if you have a really awesome, maybe specimen tree, you can nominate it for the Heritage Tree Program. We're going to be reviewing those nominations this summer. So send them in. You can find that information on our website.
Mm-hmm. And you can come out for one of the events, come plant trees with us, or just come on a tree walk and learn about the trees in your neighborhood.
Okay. So once complete, how's the plan going to be implemented, and when will we actually see changes?
Well, we should have a draft plan, which includes the community input and feedback in March. And then we hope to get the plan finalized, approved, probably summer, fall of 2023 this year. And then hopefully to be incorporated as part of the city's comprehensive plan. And then once adopted with community support and help from the Urban Forestry Commission, we will be implementing the management plan over the next 5, 10, 15 years. The plan will recommend direction and actions for Vancouver to optimize the benefits of trees, because really what we're building is just a healthy, more resilient Vancouver through trees.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? This has been a fantastic session. Thank you to all of you for filling us in on this important work. Now, Vancouver, it is your turn. And not just folks in Vancouver, everywhere else, but let's make Vancouver the heart of this movement. Your turn to get involved. Help us create an urban forestry future that improves the health and the livability of our city. You can do that. You've heard us mention, but visit Be Heard Vancouver. Just Google that and you will find it. The city's community engagement webpage, and you're going to learn more about our existing urban forestry program, and you can sign up for the updates. There, we encourage you also to participate in a short online survey, share your priorities, your ideas, and share your hopes for the future of our urban forest. Again, a sincere thank you, Vancouver, and those beyond. And hey, let's grow some trees.